Hamsters and strawberries, tigers and dragons, and Superman? That's right, we're talking about Symbolism in Midnight Poppyland by Lilydusk. Before we start, if you're new around here, hi, I'm Jo Rochelle, host of the Girl Wonder podcast, where we discuss our favorite webtoons. Hit that subscribe button and let's get started. Life is made up of a series of dots. At times, you'll feel like nothing seems to make sense. Maybe you'll ask yourself, why is this happening to me? But when you look back at your life, you'll see that the dots are all connected. There are plenty of recurring symbols and themes in Midnight Poppyland, so let's try to connect some dots. And please keep in mind that all of this is fun speculation. Let's start with our leading man, Tora, which is Japanese for tiger. On Patreon, one of my patrons, Darla, mentioned that in Chinese and Japanese culture, a tiger is a very prominent and symbolic image in itself. She was always told it's a symbol of strength and protection. As I was doing my research for this video, I found out that in Chinese folktales, tigers are a symbol of protection, taking care of the good and killing the evil spirits. A tiger charm could be used to ward off harm and disease. Now, Tora has been specifically called the Tiger of Ares Street. And if you know a thing or two about Greek mythology, Ares is the god of war. Tora is the tiger on the streets of war. Interestingly enough, the tiger is an important symbol in the military. In Chinese history, capable generals have been called tiger generals. Brave soldiers could be called tiger soldiers. It feels like Lily is trying to tell us that this mafia life that Tora is caught up in, it's war. He is a capable soldier on this specific battlefield. I think he's the most capable soldier Bolcheman's got. Which brings us to the boy with the dragon tattoo. On Patreon, Beth and Miss T talked about dragons and how they typically show up in tandem with tigers. Goliath has a dragon tattoo. So what does this mean? Will the tiger and dragon stand side by side in this war, or will they go head to head? In China and Japan, the dragon can be considered as a positive force, a symbol of peace and harmony. They're benevolent. They breathe water rather than fire and have the power to bring rain. From what we know about Goliath so far, I wouldn't say he was benevolent, and I definitely don't think he's bringing rain or peace or harmony to this webtoon. It actually feels like the opposite of that. So let's go a little deeper. The pairing of a tiger and a dragon represent counterparts. When they're together, there is balance. Tigers are from the real world. Dragons are from the imaginary. I don't know about you, but there's something about Goliath that feels so unattainable. Like he is nowhere to be found, and he left behind this notebook that is just changing the war. It has brought Ares Street into chaos. It is changing the dynamics of the battle that's going on. And have you noticed Goliath's other tattoo? On his hand is the Ace of Spades. The Ace is ranked as the highest card in its suit in most card games. It means high quality, excellence. And we know that Goliath started with nothing and clawed his way to the top in just a few short years. I see this Ace of Spades and it just reminds me that Goliath is just as formidable as Tora. They are counterparts to each other. They parallel each other in many ways. Maybe you didn't know this, but Ace of Spades has its own Wikipedia page, and I found something very interesting there. The Ace of Spades has been used in actual war. In the Second World War, the soldiers were marked with the spade symbol painted on the sides of their helmets. At the time, it meant good luck. It was seen as a fortunate thing. However, during the Vietnam War, the Ace of Spades took a much darker, more sinister turn, and it was dubbed the Death card. So Goliath has a Death card on his hand. And it makes sense. Think about it. The first time we ever hear from Goliath is in the first episode of the webtoon when he texts Tora to come and save him. They're going to kill him. So when we think about this character, we have got death and we've got excellence. And that makes a lot of sense when it comes to Goliath. I'm so interested to see how else he influences the story. Can we talk about dinosaurs for a second? From childhood, it seems that Tora has had an affinity for dinosaurs. Another creature you should be afraid of. Another creature you should be in awe of. Molded by Vincent Bulcheman, Tora is an apex predator, the top of the food chain. But he's also Superman? Very early on in Midnight Poppyland, we see Tora don a jacket that says Superman or Superhuman in Chinese. It's literally one of the first things we see him wear, so it's significant. When I close my eyes and think of Superman, I see a guy flying around in a cape. I see a guy with a double identity, and I see a guy saving damsels in distress, fighting dynamic villains from other worlds, and protecting what he cares about. So what happens when we add this all together? Our Tiger General is also a dinosaur who is also Superman. What do all of these symbols have in common? Well, here's what I see. They're fierce. They're leaders. They have minds of their own. I don't see tigers or dinosaurs or Superman taking orders from anyone. Vincent Bulcheman thinks he has Tora under his thumb. He thinks he's in control. But all of these symbols tell us that that cannot be true. Can you control a dinosaur? No, you cannot. There is bloodshed in every Jurassic Park movie. I believe there will come a day where Vincent Bulcheman will look down at his glass and see it shaking, the liquid inside rippling. Tora is coming for him, and no one will be able to save him. So yes, I think we can expect bloodshed and brutality on this journey with Tora, but he will forge his own path. I leave you with this question though. If Tora is Superman, I'm very curious, who or what is his kryptonite? In my next video about Midnight Poppyland, we will be talking about strawberries and how the symbols we associate with Poppy relate to the symbols we associate with Tora. Before we go, I leave you with this comment from my patron Emily. She said, have you seen the Chinese number slang behind Poppy and Tora's phone numbers and their timestamps? One message comes in at 5:20, which means I love you. We'll be digging into that and so much more symbolism in Midnight Poppyland as this series continues. Don't forget to listen to the Girl Wonder podcast on Spotify, SoundCloud, or Apple Podcast. Check out the description box for my Instagram and Twitter handles, and if you enjoyed this video, consider joining my Patreon at patreon.com/girlwonder. Join us, we would love to have you.